All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Sarabjit Kaur and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses bicentenary celebrations of Mumbai Samachar newspaper, praises journalists of country and says they worked like Karam Yogis during pandemic. Also inaugurates Kranti Gatha Gallery of Indian Revolutionaries at Raj Bhavan, Mumbai. First National Conference of Chief Secretaries begins today in Dharamshala, Himachal Pradesh. Prime Minister to take part tomorrow and day after. Notification for election of 16th President of India to be issued today. Union Cabinet approves development of new Dholera Greenfield Airport in Gujarat to be completed within 48 months at a cost of over 1,305 crore rupees. 4 holy relics of Lord Buddha from Kapilvastu placed at Gandan Monastery in Mongolia yesterday. The first ever service of team-based Bharat Gaurav train starts journey from Coimbatore North to Sainagar Shirdi. World Health Organization to hold emergency meeting on monkeypox outbreak next week to discuss classification as public health emergency of international concern. Indian shuttlers Kidambi Srikanth, Lakshya Sen and HS Pranoy to start their campaign today at Indonesia Open Badminton Tournament in Jakarta. Olympics gold medalist Neeraj Chopra sets new national javelin record at Paavo Nurmi Games in Finland. Sports Minister Anurag Thakur says absolutely thrilled. And in cricket, India beat South Africa by 48 runs in the third Cricket 2020 International at Visakhapatnam yesterday to remain alive in the 5-match series. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Janotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. Recalling our yesterday's question, which freedom fighter described the Neemu Chana massacre worse than the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? The correct answer is Mahatma Gandhi. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Simran Dhingra from Ramesh Nagar, New Delhi.
Hello everyone, my name is Simran Dhingra and I'm from New Delhi. I'm very delighted to know that I have been shortlisted as the winner of Amrit Mahotsav quiz that has been conducted by AIR on the occasion of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to commemorate 75 glorious years of independence. I would also like to thank AIR for helping me keep abreast with the recent developments in the international and national arena. Thank you and have a good day.
The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners on Monday, 20th June. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav quiz with AIR News. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised the journalists and said that during COVID-19 they worked like Karam Yogis. He was speaking at the bicentenary celebration of Mumbai Samachar newspaper, oldest newspaper of Asia in Mumbai yesterday. While appreciating the media, Mr. Modi said, during last few years, media has published many positive news which helped to create positive environment in the country.
बीते 2 वर्षों में कोरोना काल के दौरान जिस प्रकार हमारे पत्रकार साथियों ने राष्ट्र हित में एक कर्मयोगी की तरह काम किया, उसको भी हमेशा याद किया जाएगा। भारत के मीडिया के सकारात्मक योगदान से भारत को 100 साल के इस सबसे बड़े संकट से निपटने में बहुत बड़ी मदद मिली। मुझे विश्वास है कि आजादी के अमृत काल में देश का मीडिया अपनी सकारात्मक भूमिका का और विस्तार करेगा। ये देश डिबेट और डिस्कशन के माध्यमों से आगे बढ़ने वाली समृद्ध परिपाटी का देश है। हजारों वर्षों से हमने स्वस्थ बहस को, स्वस्थ आलोचना को, सही तर्क को सामाजिक व्यवस्था का हिस्सा बनाया है।
He asked media to spread positive words along with criticism and appealed to the media to bring forward more positive news when the country is celebrating 75 years of independence. Praising Mumbai Samachar for creating awareness among the citizens, he asked the publishers to bring out books in various languages documenting various historical events.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the Mumbai's Raj Bhavan is akin to the culture of Maharashtra, which manifests courage, dedication, spirituality and the freedom fight. The Prime Minister said this after inaugurating the Kranti Gatha, a newly created gallery of Indian revolutionaries inside the underground British-era bunker at Raj Bhavan, Mumbai, and Jal Bhushan, the new residence and office of Governor of Maharashtra. The PM said the new residence of the Governor will give new energy to the governance of Maharashtra. He said, as said by Governor Koshyari, the Raj Bhavan will work as a Lok Bhavan, will serve to give a ray of hope for the people of the state.
बीते दशकों में अनेक लोकतांत्रिक घटनाओं का साक्षी रहा है। ये उन संकल्पों का भी गवाह रहा है जो संविधान और राष्ट्र के हित में यहाँ शपथ के रूप में लिए गए। अब यहाँ जलभूषण भवन का और राजभवन में बनी क्रांतिवीरों की गैलरी का उद्घाटन हुआ है। मुझे राज्यपाल जी के आवास और कार्यालय के द्वार पूजन में हिस्सा लेने का अवसर मिला। ये नया भवन महाराष्ट्र की समस्त जनता के लिए, महाराष्ट्र के गवर्नेंस के लिए नई ऊर्जा देने वाला हो। गवर्नर साहब ने कहा कि राजभवन नहीं, लोक भवन है, वो सच्चे अर्थ में जनता जनार्दन के लिए एक आशा की किरण बनकर उभरेगा, ऐसा मेरा पूरा विश्वास है।
The Prime Minister said Raj Bhavan has seen the downfall of the colonial rule and the hoisting of tricolour with pride. The revolutionaries who have got a place in the Gallery of Revolutionaries will further strengthen the patriotic values.
क्रांति गाथा से निर्माण से जुड़े इतिहासकार विक्रम संपत जी और दूसरे सभी साथियों को भी मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं। साथियों, मैं राजभवन में पहले भी अनेक बार आ चुका हूं। यहाँ कई बार रुकना भी हुआ है। मुझे खुशी है कि आपने इस भवन के इतने पुराने इतिहास को, इसके शिल्प को संजोते हुए आधुनिकता का एक स्वरूप अपनाया है। इसमें महाराष्ट्र की महान परंपरा के अनुरूप शौर्य, आस्था, आध्यात्म और स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन में स्थान की भूमिका को भी दर्शन होते हैं। यहाँ से वो जगह ज्यादा दूर नहीं है जहाँ से पूज्य बापू ने भारत छोड़ो आंदोलन की शुरुआत की थी। इस भवन ने आजादी के समय गुलामी के प्रतीक को उतरने और तिरंगों को शान से फहराते हुए देखा है।
Maharashtra has inspired the country in various fields. Talking about social reforms, from Sant Tukaram to Baba Saheb Ambedkar, there is a prosperous heritage of social reformers. He said, by seeing the expansion of sea from the Darbar Hall, we fondly remember the valor of Veer Savarkar. Citing the example of Gadar Party, the Prime Minister said, it was national from heart but had a global scale.
साथियों, आजादी का जो हमारा आंदोलन था उसका स्वरूप लोकल भी था और ग्लोबल भी था। जैसे गदर पार्टी दिल से राष्ट्रीय भी थी लेकिन स्केल में ग्लोबल थी। श्यामजी कृष्ण वर्मा का इंडिया हाउस लंदन में भारतीयों का जमावड़ा का, लेकिन मिशन भारत की आजादी का था। नेताजी के नेतृत्व में आजाद हिंद सरकार भारतीय हितों के लिए समर्पित थी लेकिन उसका दायरा ग्लोबल था। यही कारण है कि भारत के स्वतंत्र आंदोलन ने दुनिया के अनेक देशों को आजादी के आंदोलन को प्रेरित किया। लोकल से ग्लोबल की यही भावना हमारे आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान की भी ताकत है। भारत के लोकल को आत्मनिर्भर अभियान से राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर की पहचान दी जा रही है।
More from our Mumbai correspondent.
The bunker at Raj Bhavan was discovered in 2016 by the then Governor of Maharashtra N. Vidyasagar Rao. Built before the First World War, it was used by the British to store arms and ammunition. The bunker has 13 rooms of various sizes and different cells in it were known as shell store, gun shell, cartridge store, shell lift, central artillery room, workshop. A virtual reality museum was inaugurated in this bunker by President Ram Nath Kovind on 18th August 2019. However, many rooms in the 13-room bunker were empty. Many of these rooms as well as the wall in the hallway have now been used for the Kranti Gatha Gallery of Revolutionaries. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
A 3-day national conference of chief secretaries is being organized in Dharamshala, Himachal Pradesh from today. The conference will be organized to further strengthen the partnership between the central and state governments. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will preside over the first national conference of chief secretaries tomorrow and day after at the HPCA Stadium in Dharamshala. We have more from our correspondent.
More than 200 participants representing the central government, all states, union territories and domain experts will take part in the conference. The concept and agenda of this conference has been prepared after more than 100 rounds of deliberation over a period of 6 months. 3 themes that have been identified for detailed deliberation in conference are implementation of national education policy, urban governance and crop diversification, and achieving self-sufficiency in oilseeds, pulses and other agri-commodities. The 3-day conference will lay emphasis on the development and implementation of a common development agenda and a roadmap for united action to achieve the aspiration of the people. The outcome of the conference will be discussed later in the meeting of the Governing Council of Niti Aayog, in which chief ministers and administrations of all states and union territories will be present to finalize an action plan with broad consensus at the highest level. Sanjeev Sundrial, AIR News, Shimla.
The process for election of the 16th President of India will gain momentum from today with the issuance of the notification. Nomination can be filed by the candidates till 29th of this month. The poll for the presidential election will be held on 18th of next month and counting will take place on 21st July. Term of office of President Ramnath Kovind is ending on 24th of July. For the upcoming presidential election, the Bharatiya Janata Party has authorized its President J.P. Nadda and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold consultations with different political parties. Our correspondent reports that presidential election will be held by secret ballot in accordance with system of proportional representation as per the Constitution. The President is elected by an electoral college comprising elected members of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and state legislative assemblies. It also includes legislative assemblies of Delhi and Puducherry. The centre has cleared the Agnipath scheme for recruitment of youth in the armed forces. Over 46,000 Agniveers are to be recruited this year. This is a major defence policy reform introduced by the government to usher in a new era in the human resource policy of the 3 services. The policy, which comes into immediate effect, will govern the enrolment for the 3 services. Briefing media in New Delhi with 3 service chiefs, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said the youth selected under this scheme will be known as Agniveers. The Agnipath scheme, cleared by the Cabinet Committee on Security, allows patriotic and motivated youth to serve in the armed forces for a period of 4 years.
अग्निपथ योजना के अंतर्गत यह प्रयास किया जा रहा है कि इंडियन आर्म्ड फोर्सेस का प्रोफाइल पूरी तरह से यूथफुल हो। यूथफुल प्रोफाइल से यह फायदा भी होगा कि उन्हें नई नई टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए आसानी से ट्रेन किया जा सकेगा और उनकी हेल्थ और फिटनेस का लेवल भी काफी बेहतर होगा। इस अग्निपथ योजना से एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज बढ़ेंगी और अग्निवीर सेवा के दौरान अर्जित स्किल्स एवं एक्सपीरियंस उन्हें विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी प्राप्त कराएगा और इससे भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था को भी हायर स्किल्ड वर्कफोर्स की उपलब्धता होगी, जो प्रोडक्टिविटी गेन और ओवरऑल जीडीपी ग्रोथ में सहायक होगी। अग्निवीरों के लिए एक अच्छी पे पैकेज, 4 साल की सेवा के बाद एग्जिट पर सेवा निधि पैकेज एवं एक लिबरल डेथ एंड डिसेबिलिटी पैकेज की भी व्यवस्था की गई।
Union Cabinet has approved the development of new Dholera Greenfield Airport in Gujarat. The airport is planned for operationalization from 2025-2026. Briefing media in New Delhi yesterday after the cabinet meeting, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur said this airport will be connected through multimodal connectivity like railways and highways. Over 1,305 crore rupees will be spent on the first phase and it will be completed within 48 months.
ये अपने आप में जिस तरह से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की सोच गति शक्ति की प्रोजेक्ट्स को आगे ले जाने की है, मल्टी मॉडल कनेक्टिविटी की हम बात करते हैं, ये उसी दिशा में एक बहुत बड़ा इनिशिएटिव है। अगर हम कुल मिलाकर देखें तो दिल्ली मुंबई कॉरिडोर में है, जहां इस तरह के 8 नोड्स बननी है, उनमें से एक ये धोलेरा का भी है। तो यहाँ पर धोलेरा स्पेशल इन्वेस्टमेंट रीजन की लॉजिस्टिक्स की आवश्यकताओं को भी ये पूरा करेगा और इसको अहमदाबाद के दूसरे एयरपोर्ट के रूप में भी देखा जाएगा, जहां पे यात्रियों को इसका लाभ मिलेगा और आसपास के इलाके के लोगों को भी इसका लाभ मिलेगा और रैपिड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम भी यहां पर उपलब्ध होगा। ये नए भारत का नया डेवलपमेंट मॉडल है।
Mr. Thakur said Prime Minister Narendra Modi has directed to recruit 10 lakh people in the government jobs in mission mode in the next 18 months.
The four holy Kapilvastu relics of Lord Buddha were placed with great reverence for exposition in the Batsgan Temple Assembly Hall of the Ganden Monastery in Mongolia yesterday. On this occasion, Union Minister Kiren Rijiju said, several centuries ago, the spirit of Buddhism traversed from the Himalayan mountains of India into Mongolian steppes and became precious shared heritage. He said this spiritual connect continues to bind the people of the two nations. Mr. Rijiju informed that India has reprinted 100 sets of 108-volume sacred Mongolian Kanjur, which will soon be distributed to monasteries and other Buddhist institutions.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses bicentenary celebration of Mumbai Samachar newspaper, praises journalists of the country and says they worked like karmyogis during pandemic. Also inaugurates Kranti Gatha Gallery of Indian Revolutionaries at Raj Bhavan, Mumbai. The first National Conference of Chief Secretaries begins today in Dharamshala, Himachal Pradesh. Prime Minister to take part tomorrow and the day after. Notification for election of the 16th President of India to be issued today. Union Cabinet approves the development of new Dholera Greenfield Airport in Gujarat to be completed within 48 months at a cost of over 1,305 crore rupees. Four holy relics of Lord Buddha from Kapilavastu placed at Ganden Monastery in Mongolia yesterday. The first ever service of theme-based Bharat Gaurav train starts journey from Coimbatore North to Sainagar Shirdi. World Health Organization to hold emergency meeting on monkeypox outbreak next week to discuss classification as public health emergency or international concern. Indian shuttlers Kidambi Shrikant, Lakshya Sen and H.S. Pranoy to start their campaign today at Indonesia Open Badminton Tournament in Jakarta. Olympics gold medalist Neeraj Chopra sets new national javelin record at Power Nurmi Games in Finland. Sports Minister Anurag Thakur says absolutely thrilled. And in cricket, India beat South Africa by 48 runs in the third Cricket 2020 International at Visakhapatnam yesterday to remain alive in the 5-match series. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
क्या आप कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं? आपके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो लाया है प्रोग्राम अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जहां आप सवाल भेजते हैं व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर। आपके सवालों के जवाब हमारे एक्सपर्ट देते हैं हर शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे। इस बार का विषय है इंडियन सोसाइटी, भारतीय समाज, और सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 15 जून। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग हेतु संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
जन जन ने निर्णय लेकर भारत की सूरत बदली है, कदम कदम पे जनता मोदी जी के साथ चली है। 8 साल में हमने संभव को संभव कर डाला है, जब में उगे सूरज का देखो पश्चिम में भी उजाला है। साथ गई अब दिन आएगा भी तो ये बस भोर है, ये भारत का
Welcome back to the morning news. The first ever service of the theme-based Bharat Gaurav train started its journey from Coimbatore North to Sainagar Shirdi yesterday. It was flagged off by the Southern Railway Salem Division Manager Gautam Srinivas. A release from the Southern Railway says the train is being operated by a private service provider. In its maiden journey, 1,100 passengers travelled from Coimbatore to Shirdi. The firm South Star Rail is the registered service provider that operates the train on the route. Karnataka Cooperative Minister S.T. Somashekar has informed that 15,000 yoga practitioners will perform yoga along with the Prime Minister on the International Day of Yoga in Mysuru on 21st of this month. The Mysuru Palace foreground is getting ready for the International Yoga Day. He said 12,000 yogasan practitioners have already registered for the Yoga Day event. Students, labourers, daily wagers and the physically challenged have been given representation during the Yoga Day. And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
We remember freedom fighter Sirbandhan. He was in the service of the English East India Company Army, but left it during the First War of Independence in 1857 and also motivated his fellow sepoys to leave their service and take part in the struggle for freedom from the oppressive foreign rule.
He fought the company on several occasions and was finally caught in an encounter, charged with desertion and mutiny against the British authorities. Sirbandhan was sentenced to transportation for life with hard labour and irons on the 15th of August, 1857. He died there in detention on the 15th of June, 1858. AIR News salutes the great nationalist.
15th of June is also the death anniversary of Harilal Shah. He participated in the Dharasana Salt Satyagraha in May 1930. When Gandhiji decided to go for the Dharasana Salt Satyagraha, he wrote to Viceroy Irwin and told him about his plan. To prevent Gandhiji from acting, he was arrested on the 4th of May 1930 and detained near Pune. The Dharasana Satyagraha went ahead as planned by Gandhiji, with Abbas Tayyabji leading the march with Kasturba Gandhi at his side.
Both were arrested before reaching Dharasana and sentenced to 3 months of imprisonment. After their arrests, the Satyagrahis, including Harilal Shah, continued the march under the leadership of Sarojini Naidu, who warned them.
You must not use any violence under any circumstance. You will be beaten, but you must not resist. You must not even raise a hand to ward off blows.
As apprehended, the armed forces began clubbing the Satyagrahis with steel-tipped lathis in an incident on the 22nd of May 1930, and many Satyagrahis, of whom one was a badly injured Harilal Shah. Later, Harilal Shah succumbed to his injuries on the 15th of June 1930. AIR News salutes the great nationalist.
We also remember Gandhian freedom fighter Kushal Konwar. On the 10th of October 1942, hidden in the thick fog of early morning, some people removed a few sleepers from the railway line near Sarupathar in Golaghat district. A military train passing by derailed and many British and American soldiers lost their lives.
Accusing Kushal Konwar of being the chief conspirator of the train sabotage, the British police arrested him. At dawn on the 15th of June 1943, at 4:30 a.m., Kushal Konwar was hanged at Jorhat jail. AIR News salutes the great nationalist. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
News Services Division of All India Radio will bring an exclusive interview with Sarbanand Sonowal, Union Cabinet Minister of Ayush, in the Spotlight program tonight. Talking to AIR News, Minister of Ayush Sarbanand Sonowal said that yoga should be developed as a way of life and appealed to everyone to participate in the upcoming International Day of Yoga.
On the International Day of Yoga, which is going to be held on 21st of June, please do participate. Yoga should be developed as a way of life, and I think everyone should integrate yoga as a part of their lifestyle, because this yoga can make you always strong and healthy. And through yoga, I believe everyone can develop the power of knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, which can help a person to attain the peace of mind and peace of life.
This interview can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. onwards.
In Jammu and Kashmir, the Pratham Puja, the first prayer marking the ritual beginning of the annual Sri Amarnath Ji Yatra, held yesterday. The prayer was conducted on the occasion of Jeshth Purnima at the Holy Cave Shrine. The Yatra for this year will be commencing from the 30th of this month. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 2 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists were killed in an encounter with security forces that broke out last night in Kanjiular village of South Kashmir, Shopian district. Kashmir Zone Police, while quoting Inspector General of Police Kashmir Vijay Kumar in a tweet, said that one of the slain terrorists was identified as Jan Mohammad Lone of Shopian. Meanwhile, search operation in the area is going on till the reports last came in. Further details awaited.
World Health Organization yesterday said it will hold an emergency meeting next week to determine whether to classify the global monkeypox outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern. That is the highest level of warning issued by the UN Health Agency, which currently applies only to the COVID-19 pandemic and polio. Tokyo Olympics gold medalist ace javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra set a new national record of 89.30 meters at Power Nurmi Games in Finland. Chopra's earlier national record was 88.07 meters, which he had set in Patiala in March last year. In the third Cricket 2020 internationals, India beat South Africa by 48 runs at Visakhapatnam yesterday to remain alive in the 5-match series. Put into bat first, the hosts made 179 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in 20 overs, riding on openers Ruturaj Gaikwad 57 off 35 and Ishan Kishan 54 off 35. For visitors, Dwayne Pretorius picked up 2 wickets. Indian shuttlers Kidambi Shrikant, Lakshya Sen and H.S. Pranoy will start their campaign today at Indonesia Open Badminton Tournament in Jakarta. And now an overview of today's newspapers. In an effort to handle the impending monsoons better, government to create 800 recharging pits in cities, waterlogging prone areas, headlines the Hindustan Times. The pioneer writes, capital gets respite from scorching heat after 13 days. The Indian Express states COVID cases in Delhi breach 1,100 mark after a month of hospitalization remains slow, plan in place. Economic Times says births, deaths data to be Aadhaar linked for government benefits, newborns to get unique ID, while those of the deceased to be inactivated. The Times of India reports Delhiites losing 10 years of life due to air pollution. And finally, the Statesman informs Rath Yatra, cricket and Takshari to bridge communal gap in Gujarat. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses bicentenary celebration of Mumbai Samachar newspaper, praises journalists of country and says they worked like Karam Yogis during pandemic, also inaugurates Kranti Gatha Gallery of Indian Revolutionaries at Raj Bhavan, Mumbai. First National Conference of Chief Secretaries begins today in Dharamshala, Himachal Pradesh. Prime Minister to take part tomorrow and day after. Notification for election of 16th President of India to be issued today. Union Cabinet approves development of new Dholera Greenfield Airport in Gujarat to be completed within 48 months at a cost of over 1,305 crore rupees. 4 holy relics of Lord Buddha from Kapilvastu placed at Gandan Monastery in Mongolia yesterday. The first ever service of theme-based Bharat Gaurav train starts journey from Coimbatore North to Sainagar Shirdi. World Health Organization to hold emergency meeting on monkeypox outbreak next week. Indian shuttlers Kitambi Srikanth, Lakshya Sen and HS Pranoy to start their campaign today at Indonesia Open Badminton Tournament in Jakarta. Olympics gold medalist Neeraj Chopra sets new national javelin record at Paavo Nurmi Games in Finland. And in cricket, India beat South Africa by 48 runs in the third Cricket 2020 International at Visakhapatnam yesterday to remain alive in the 5-match series. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.